How's it going, guys? You have read by the title of this video. Basically, I'm gonna be bashing the shit out of everyone who was doubting me and as well saying I was completely wrong about The Last of Us Part 2, that it will not be coming out in 2019. I have made a specific video on that. Here you go, as you can see here. And also, you know what? I'm gonna open this page up. I'm gonna be referencing it a lot. So mind you, this is a commentary due to the fact that I want to bash on those people that are saying like, oh, you're full of shit, you don't know what the fuck you don't know what you're talking about. And obviously this is due to the fact of the reason because many people wanted to see The Last of Us Part 2 in 2019. Even though, I'm gonna say this up front and right now, I want you to understand, I do want to get this game. This is one of my most anticipated games like hell ever in this case. But I have you know as well that this game is just not realistic that will come out this year. Now I understand the development and everything, the acting and everything, the voice acting is all done. It's been done since like April, I think, of 2019. And now obviously there were even rumors going on that The Last of Us Part 2 most likely will come out in October of 2019. And that's plausible. It still can be plausible. But there's a very concrete leaks and sources coming in and saying that simply The Last of Us Part 2 will not be coming in 2019. One of those leaks, mind you, and more or less of confirmations, coming all from Jason Schreier. If you guys know him, basically he's one of the most reliable sources of internet, of gaming, perhaps ever, just to make sure that whenever he opens his mouth, it's realistically the truth. Seriously. Like, he has heard from many of the rumors, and of course, I should say not rumors, sorry, the sources of his own. Obviously they're gonna be anonymous, but he has heard that The Last of Us Part 2 has been pushed back to 2020, early 2020. In fact, in my other video that I made was 11 May? Yeah, 11 May, and that video, I said Last of Us Part 2 is not coming in 2019. I got almost 80 dislikes, well 40 likes at least, and a lot of people were extremely annoyed. And so obviously, a lot of people did not want to believe the truth, did not want to believe that what I'm trying to tell you is the case. Here's the main reason why it was pushed back. It's not because of the necessity of development time is required for The Last of Us Part 2 to get better and more progress through. No, it's actually because of the Death Stranding. Death Stranding is coming out, as you already might know, November the 8th. Now, where does this leave for The Last of Us Part 2? A lot of people might tell me, I will not be doubting that. That a lot of people will be telling me, well, why not just release, I don't know, like The Last of Us Part 2 in September, or let it be released in December, for example. But yes, like, if you understand how PlayStation usually release their exclusive games, mind you, I'm talking about big games. They don't back-to-back, they never do it back-to-back. So they want to make a little bit of a gap distance between that release. So this time around, is more or less that is going to be coming. The Last of Us Part 2, mind you, will be coming in the early of 2020. 2020 predictions actually going towards the February mark, and that's when you can expect it to be happening. Now, I wanted to mention and have a bit of a discussion as well. Coming from all the comments that have been talked and mentioned of The Last of Us Part 2 and why it will be coming, why not be coming, and yeah. So one of those comments, as you can see here, pretty much a bit of a shout out as well to you. Muntaha Sulehri, I'm not giving up on a whole 2019 release. Say what you want, I don't care, it's coming out this year. Well, looks like somebody, yeah, looks like I was right. Anyway, I hate it when whoever said it's coming out in 2020. Anthony Newman confirmed they're still looking to hire more people to help them out, close out on this game. It's coming out this year. Yep, you see Twitter, he looks like he's hiring people to get close in the game. Sounds like they're close to finishing it. And obviously they just have their own general conversation and talk about it. Obviously there's a lot more people talked about and said that, this is just unrealistic because the Death Stranding will be coming out. But this comments was already 2 weeks old. Death Stranding release trailer, of the release date trailer, sorry. Yeah, that came out a lot further in. And obviously after that we found out much more information regarding that Last of Us Part 2. Well, you might have guessed it, will not be coming in the 2019. Yeah. And I'm actually looking through the comments at the same time while I'm having a bit of a discussion with you all as well. Now, talking about it, continuing on, they announced Uncharted 4, and then a year and a half later it was released, if I remember correctly. And did you forget how many times they had to push the release back? Oh, well, I guess Death incarnate, he's on my side. But yeah, when they have, that's true actually. I think it was actually even 6 months, 4 months since the day they finished up with the project. I mean, with the voice acting, I think it was 4 months. I might be wrong, but please don't quote me on that. But basically, they released it pretty quick. Well, obviously they had to delay it as well on top of that. So I'm sure there were a lot of different issues on top of that. But still, that's not the important part. The important part is that, as you already know, Sony nowadays, they just simply do not want to release their games unfinished, unpolished. So they wait up till the very last second, till the very last day, when they are very confident of saying when they will be releasing that particular big game. Something has happened already for God of War. In February, in February we found out the information when God of War finally will be coming. And it was coming in April 20th. And February 2018, that's insane. 2 months prior from its release. That's insane. Now, Dap Fiend, hopefully I'm not butchering the name, but anyway. By the way, I also doubted it would be released at 2020, at least around Halloween or fall of 2019. Well, 2020, you were wrong. Anyway, so yeah, now have a nice day 45. Better delete this video, you're releasing wrong information. Are you sure about that? Alright, so stay Fractalski? Yeah, what about the foreign marketing explicit states and release date this year on around Outbreak Day? It makes perfect sense for Sony to release arguably their most important game of this generation, with a full year of sales opportunity before transition to next gen. No, that makes sense, I agree. They're not gonna rush it out. And yes, that's a good point. Outbreak Day, that's a good point. I agree with you, dude. It's actually an excellent point. But talking about this, we have another game coming out, Death Stranding. So they're not really much in a hurry that they need to be, and just to make sure that they release it on that particular day. Actually, talking about break day, when the hell is that day? Wow, I genuinely do not know. Did it pass by already? I actually don't know. I have heard of it, but man. Anyway, my apologies about this. Now, talking about it, and yeah, let's just continue. So, Zemix, I feel like the reference of the time frame between release of the Division 2 and the Ghost Recon Breakpoint is invalid. Well, yeah, that's true. I just made it in a comparison. I never said if we look at this, look at this. No, not that. No, since they're both online multiplayer games that need to be finished, but Last of Us 2 and it's the only being 1, 2, 3, 12 hours to experience. Where are you getting this information from? No, it's not. It's definitely not gonna be 12 hours. No way in hell. The Last of Us Part 2 was, the first one was never even 20 hours. I think it was 30 hours length of campaign. Well, around that mark. No, it was not 3 to 12 hours. I think this guy's just a hater. Anyway, that should only need a 2 months time frame to release it, follow it. And June, July should be good enough, especially since it's summer. It's, what? So maybe, well, okay. But there's not enough marketing for that, so maybe you're right. Yeah, I'm right, because there's no way in hell that this game will come out this summer. It would have been already in instead of Death Stranding that we've gotten today, well, a couple of days ago at this point, and instead that should have been The Last of Us, if you were expecting to see The Last of Us Part 2 in the end of summer, for example. Or hell, I would even argue to say at the end of 2019 as well. Alright, so, sorry, but those games are not AAA games and won't affect the launch of The Last of Us Part 2. Okay, yes, Jesus Christ, I even said in that video. I want you to understand this before I do progress. I have mentioned regards of the comparisons of the Ubisoft games and talking about why Watch Dogs 3, yes, Watch Dogs 3 will not be coming in 2019, but instead will be coming in 2020. Yes, another commentary I gotta make about that. People don't believe me for some reason. Typical. Anyway, basically, a lot of people were, doubting that, for example, what are you doing? This is Sony games. What are you putting Ubisoft games into here? No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying how this sort of thing works. I never explicitly said that this is exactly how it's going to work. It's guaranteed. No, I just put in examples. I never said this into fruition that it's exactly going to be happening like that. Understand? I'm just putting in examples. It does not mean anything. I'm just trying to make my point come across a little bit easier so for people to follow through. Seems like people followed through, not in a good way. Well, I should say, not the way I initially thought it would make more sense. I guess it didn't. Maybe that was my fault as well. Alright, so I think that will come this year. They have coming, sorry, Rock Sidzemfrey, I think? Yeah. I think that will come this year. They have 5 months to get all cutscenes in main game, and Naughty Dog will release this game September or October this year for sure. It's finished. So why will release 2020? It makes no sense. For the composer Gustav says 2019 releases in October. Will we see The Last of Us Part 2? Nope, that's not the case at all. November the 8th, Death Stranding. No way Sony is gonna release back-to-back another big hitter. No way. It's already granted. And Jason Schreier, just, you know, he pretty much, how can I say, he tied in my words. Basically, he pretty much quoted me saying that this game's coming out in 2020, sorry. And hopefully that made a little more sense. But anyway. Alright, maybe you're right, man, but if it happens this year, we'll be going down one of them if it's not Sony's weakest year this gen. No, that's not true. The weakest Sony's years, they were far weaker than 2016, 2015, no, 2014, maybe back then, way back then, basically, those days were far worse. Now, 2019, sorry, it's actually a good year for Sony. Hell, even, like, I can definitely tell you, definitely not better than 2018, that's for sure. Well, so far, because Death Stranding is coming out, we don't know how that will turn out to be, and maybe that will be fantastic. Who the hell knows? Days Gone, a lot of people took it as incredibly awful first impressions, even though I love that game. It's hard, solid 7 out of 10 game. Fantastic game, love it. And still, by the way, guys, I still play it till this day, and I got a Platinum Trophy. Love the game that much. It's great, fantastic game. I don't know what's wrong with Days Gone. Days Gone was a great damn game. It did even so well that it outsold in Japan as well. Oh, sorry. Outsold God of War in Japan though, but still the marketing in Japan is a little bit different, and you know, those in Japan the people like to have different elements in their games, obviously. Now anyway, that's not important. What I want to talk about, let's just continue. If it does come out this year, I'm unlocking this video. Andy shook. And anyway, so I actually I responded to him, it was about 3 weeks ago. Yes, it's getting a little older now, comments. What if it does come out in 2020? Then he said, well then fuck my life. Oh my god. Oh, this is funny. Yeah, I don't think you should be taking it out on this video. I'll be pissed if it doesn't release this year, especially because the game was supposedly done a while ago. Then oh, well, he then mentions like, I will subscribe to your channel. And I just mentioned that's a deal then. And you should be subscribing now, please. Anyway, I'm just making a bit of fun. David Duffy comes with and says, will come 2019 October, Last of Us Part 2. Well, that's not gonna happen. We already have that pretty much a month covered by Death Stranding. Yes, I know Death Stranding is coming on November the 8th. Does not mean anything. Sony exclusives, they like to have a bit of a gap between them, between their big games, and so obviously February is most likely the game that will be coming out actually. Now, okay, I'm not gonna think anything until Naughty Dog themselves say something. That's the good way of putting it. Nicely done. Nicely said, Cheeseburger Eddie. That's right. Alright, let's continue and say maybe March 2020 or spring 2020 release. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what's plausible. I personally think the earliest we're gonna get it will be February for The Last of Us Part 2 again. But yes, this is coming from Tyler Thunder. Sorry guys, I keep well, you can see yourselves anyway in here, so that's okay if I do not mention your name, unfortunately. Big Dog comes in and says The Last of Us 2 is already finished. All it needs is polishing. As a game developer, finished game means already published. What are they doing right now is working on multiplayer, because technical multiplayer is not part of the linear games. Anyway, they're working on marketing, bundles and box arts. It won't take long. It will release in summer, I'm dead sure, and you're dead wrong. And yeah, Big Dog, cool. Just says pretty much cool. Yeah, well, no. Again, proved you wrong. Okay, yes, Critical Care. Much as I want Last of Us 2 to release this year, but I want Naughty Dog to take their sweet time. There are other major games coming out later this year. It's not like we are dry on games releases. Indeed, completely agreed with you. Oh yeah, even I even responded to him and said, yeah, I agree with you. Anyway, okay, this is coming from the Kingdom Wayfinder. I mean, the co-director on the game just said a few days ago that the game is in the final stages of the development, but saying that they need help to close out the game. It's honestly 50-50 right now. It's just lots of questions and speculation arising as of late with a lack of real substantial news at the moment, especially the fact that Sony won't be at the E3 next month. All we got to go off is by mocap is done, development is near complete, and that rumor from Akojin on the Resetera. But yeah, I mean, 50-50, it was good. It was good, perspective, point of view. I agree. My point was not really 50-50. I already knew 2020 was going to be the day. The year for The Last of Us Part 2. I actually thought initially it would be coming out in February, and more or less Jason Schreier also thinks it will be February. But you never know, really. It might even come out in January. Who knows? But actually, no. I'm more confident of saying that will be coming out in February, guys. Maybe in just a slight bit later, like late February. That's just, my opinion. This is extremely my thoughts and coming in now. Coming in next, okay, hell, we thought that they pushed Days Gone back 3 times to polish it, but it still released like turd with like 7 big bug updates, sorry. Naughty Dog is a class of their own and they want to release this year. Again, make it happen. Well, they're not. It's pretty much confirmation, more or less. I don't care about the release now. Don't get me wrong, I love The Last of Us, but right now I'm blown away by Days Gone. Agreed, same here. I maybe forget about The Last of Us, didn't know it was possible, and until they release it, I have to play, more or less. But yes, this is awesome. I agree with here, I agree with you, I had a good time. Last of Us Part 2 is next, and I'm good with it. I don't think it's coming out in 2019 either, but what the heck does everything you mentioned have to do with anything? What does even stuff have to do with a Naughty Dog? Like I said, dude. Calvin Heights, thank you so much for seeing my point of view on that it's not coming out in 2019. But also I want to address one thing. Again, this is just more of my hypothesis, if that makes sense. My perspective of how I wanted to explain. Yes, I agree, it was not necessary. I just wanted you guys to understand. I had no solid proof that I could just tell you guys straight up in front and say that this game is definitely not coming out in 2019, even though I said it and I meant it by that, and I was right, and I'm still right. The Jason Schreier, he pretty much, with all of his newest tweets that he came out with, he pretty much confirmed his own way by saying that this game is not coming out in 2019, as I was saying. Anyway, Michael Haj, hopefully I'm not butchering them again, sorry. Sony stated that they don't want to announce release date until Sony makes sure that Naughty Dog and ready to release after done with their development first. Release date announcement is coming very soon, likely next month, if possible in early July. Just wait until they make official news of this game. Well, yes, that's true. I do think that as well, but I don't think, well, obviously they're not going to be announcing The Last of Us Part 2 in July if the game comes out into 2020. But if they're extremely confident and saying that they are more than ready to go, let's say maybe PSX of 2019 in December, right? That's when we'll be expecting, maybe like early December. Yeah, expected back then perhaps. Maybe it would be a concrete release date of The Last of Us Part 2, and that would be awesome. But yeah, okay, so continuing on, Jacob O'Connell, Indian people are scammers in the Delilah. I think that's more of a, just a random comment. Yeah, it's coming with that poster leak that came out and said like October 2019, release date for The Last of Us Part 2. But yeah, I think I'm just, I think I already stated my opinion on that. But yeah, it was never even meant to be a confirmation. Alright, so I hope they do wait till next year, 2020, because the Polish graphics make the best possible games, but even with the these 3 big games coming out this year, The Last of Us Part 2 will outsell them all. The message is The Last of Us Part 2, The Last of Us is the best game, a game ever made, masterpiece in my opinion. Next year will be a better move, I think. Sure, good point, I agree. Alright, so, ZDEyE, hopefully I'm not butchering the name again. Lol, early 2020? Nope. My guess is Naughty Dog will actually steal the show at the E3 2020. It's probably coming out after June or next year. You think that it's gonna take another year? No, dude, that's way too long. No. How can I say? Naughty Dog are more than ready and more confident of releasing their game in coming, in 2020, basically. They're more than confident. And it seems like with the development and so much information that we already have found out, that they are more than ready to release their game. And obviously they are still, polishing it up and everything at this moment as well. Yeah, it's most likely will be the next year, but early. that's just that. Anyway, okay, so last comment. I think that's that, really. Yeah, oh yes, coming buzz off comes from Medieval. Please, that game is trash, kid stuff. Yeah, it's... I have mentioned in that commentary regarding that Medieval is also coming out like in November, October or something like that, at the end of 2019 anyway. And I put into the plausibility of that because of that game, you know, will be coming out on PlayStation and stuff and everything. And so, you know, I don't know why, I should never even said that it's one of those big games. It's not. I never actually, thinking about it now, I never said it. I just said that it's there and, you know, they're covering a date or wherever, right? But, you know, you never know. PlayStation, Sony, you know, they can always, you know, do adjustments. They can do a little bit of different things that whatever they want to do. It's their own right, more or less. So yes, I do want to mention before I do go, I have actually made my own poll, prediction poll, I should say. And I made this about a couple of days ago. Is on my community tab page on my YouTube channel. So as I mentioned, this is my description. Wow, this is my prediction, sorry. So Death Stranding, obviously late this year, November the 8th, 2019. Obviously we already got that confirmation. It's not really a prediction then. The Last of Us Part 2 early next year. I said, just to be safe side, February till perhaps April 2020. Ghost of Tsushima, I thought will be coming maybe perhaps as my prediction late next year, somewhere September to November 2020. Now, after finding out more information about that, I've actually noticed that there's a possibility that it might even come out earlier, somewhere even during the summertime, maybe even a bit earlier than that. Who knows? And of course, I have mentioned also because I'm a big fan of Cyberpunk 2077, I have also mentioned that it will be coming out late next year, September, November 2020. Mind you, September, well, no, I'm more confident saying October, November will be the months of the next generation of consoles as well, 2020 for the PlayStation 5, or whatever the name of the next Xbox is going to be as well. But anyway, I think that's that. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you as well for those guys that did not believe me, and I proved you all wrong. Now, I want to mention one thing. This is not coming from Naughty Dog. This is not coming from Sony. This is coming from the sources, reliable sources, mind you, from Jason Schreier. And most of the times, 99% of the times, he's always correct. And yes, I'm gonna put a lot of, you know, I'm gonna say it again. 2020, The Last of Us Part 2, let's make this even more bolder. Early 2020, as I mentioned, many times again and again, is The Last of Us Part 2 that will be coming out. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. I see you guys all.